Hi skiers, I'm Jeff from SkiEssentials.com. Today we're going to talk about the 2021 Volkl Kanjo 84. This is our first kind of on snow ski review in a while. Feels great to be back. We were going to film this whole thing up on snow and do all the talking on snow and everything like that, but it's pretty windy up there today, so I decided I'd just come back down into the office and chat about it here so we get a little bit better audio. Kanjo 84 is a really cool ski. It kind of gets overlooked by a lot of people because of the popularity of skis like the M5 Mantra and the Kendo, but it's a really good ski. There's a lot of value in this ski as well, in the sense that it's pretty affordable, and in the sense that it's a really good ski for a wide range of skiers. So a valuable ski to have on the market in general. Let's kind of talk about its construction and its shape, and then we'll get into performance. Construction's pretty cool. You know, the Kanjo has been around for a while, but this version of the Kanjo is new for 2021, and they're using kind of a blend of a bunch of different characteristics or a bunch of different technologies and construction techniques that they use in different skis. I think the most obvious thing when you look at it is the frame design. So we've talked about this with the Kendo and the M5 Mantra. It's in other skis like the Katana and the Mantra 102. Instead of a Titanal frame in the Kanjo, we get a glass frame, which is something that we do see Volkl using in some of their narrower skis as well. So same exact concept of the Titanal frame. Along the edge and the forebody and up through the tail, there's extra fiberglass along the edge of the ski, and same is true in the tail. So that's different than metal, and we'll get to how that affects the ski's feel when we talk about performance. But it's pretty cool to see that that frame technology move into the Kanjo, where previously it was Titanal band, and Titanal band is no longer used in any Volkl skis. So really interesting just to see the kind of development of these skis over the past couple of years. And they also have a Titanal plate underfoot. You know, oftentimes these are, the way that they're marketed or described to the public is it's for binding retention, but plates like this do add some performance as well, and I think specifically this plate from Volkl, it's pretty similar to what they're using in the Blaze in terms of shape. So you get, you know, full width metal underfoot, and then it kind of like tapers but extends a little bit forward. And you don't always get that with kind of a Titanal binding plate. They also have a multi-layer wood core in here. You know, that's kind of classic Volkl construction, is they pretty typically always have a multi-layer wood core, at least in their relatively higher end skis. You know, they're using a bunch of different types of wood laminated together and a longitudinal axis to kind of create the flex pattern that they want. And that's the gist of construction. Now, shape, I think, is pretty darn important on this ski. One, they use Volkl's 3D turn radius. It's not quite as pronounced as some other skis. So in this ski, it's 24 meters in the tip, 17 underfoot, and 20 in the tail. So in the Blaze, we're seeing like a way bigger range of those radii in the 3D radius skis. But it still exists in this ski, which is important in my opinion. And then they have a decent amount of tip rocker, which I think is pretty cool for a ski that's 84 underfoot and is an important characteristic to this ski in my opinion. So tip rocker starts about where my hand is, and it's not like high rise like banana rocker. There's not a lot of splay here, but it's substantial in its length. And the same is actually true in the tail as well. It's not quite as pronounced, but we still get pretty long rocker in the tail. And then you also get a little bit of early taper in this ski as well. So it's more noticeable in the tip. You know, there's really not that much in the tail. I think when you're skiing it, if you like glance down at your skis, they look like they have more taper than they actually do. But again, that taper is pretty important to just the overall feel of the ski and how it performs. So add that all up. You've got a ski that's actually pretty darn lightweight. I tested the 175 today. I have skied the 182 as well, but 175 just kind of feels like it retains the intended nature of the ski when I'm skiing it. But this 175 is like 1,590 grams, I think. without a binding single ski, and that's pretty darn light. In fact, yeah, like impressively light. I think that it's important to point out how lightweight these skis are. And then the flex pattern is, it's not stiff, it's not soft, it's just this like nice, even kind of medium flex pattern that I think is really good for this ski. It makes a lot of sense that it has a relatively soft flex pattern, but not too soft. So let's talk about performance, because that's probably what you all care about most. The first thing you'll notice when you click into these skis is, again, how light they feel. They really, really do feel light, and I think it's noticeable in swing weight because the ski is so light. Then you put a heavier binding in the middle, and then all of a sudden it really feels like the extremities of the ski are quite lightweight. So even before you like take your first turn, when you're in the lift line and you're kind of shuffling around the base, you'll notice how light they feel. I usually like to start with Groomer Performance, so let's start with Groomer Performance. The best way to describe these skis is that they're snappy and energetic, and they do hold an edge pretty well too. Now, I do think it's important to point out that there is a difference in the feel between this ski and something like the Kendo 88 with more metal. The Kendo 88 is much heavier. It has more vibration damping. It's got more of like the plow through performance that we talk about. If you're skiing in like varied snow conditions, that ski will kind of track a little bit better, but it's heavier, more fatiguing, more demanding. This ski, when you're skiing on a groomer, if you get a perfect corduroy groomer, it is such a snappy, responsive, fun feel. And I think that 3D turn radius really works well in this ski too, because it doesn't have a super stiff flex pattern. You can access that quicker turn radius underfoot a little bit easier. The glass frame, I do think it does a good job holding an edge. I think that's kind of the highlight of this construction, is the way that it provides torsional stiffness and edge grip. It doesn't provide the same level of vibration damping, again, as something like the Kendo. So if you're like if you're a heavy skier who just likes to rip around at high speeds all the time, you might prefer a ski like the Kendo. But I do think that realistically, there are probably more skiers if you look at the overall skiing population, not just you guys watching this video, because I know most of our audience, you're pretty good at skiing. But the general skiing population can get a lot from this ski, and they're not going to push it past its limits. Today when we were skiing, we had some pretty granular, sugary, soft snow, and I find that in that scenario, you have to kind of stay at more moderate speeds, but that's not a bad thing by any means, and it kind of goes back to the intended use of this ski. It's not just designed to like charge through choppy snow conditions, but it handles it really, really well at slower speeds. And the benefit is that it's super responsive, so you can make the ski do whatever you want. If you want it to go over there real quick, you can do it. You can do that. It really responds to skier input super, super quickly, which is really nice. Now, so to summarize, on-trail performance, you're not getting like raw, endless power or stability at speed. You're getting responsiveness, you're getting really good edge grip, you're getting a snappy feel. They're a pleasure to link carving turns on, for sure. Now, I think what I found in the first Kanjo, when I got out and tested that first Kanjo, the highlight of that ski, in my opinion, was how it blended. That ski also had a pretty snappy feel, although I think this one's more energetic on firm snow. But it blended that ability with really, really good mogul skiing. And we talk about that a lot. When we have skis in this mid-80 waist width range, they're generally really good mogul skis. They're quick edge to edge, so you can make quick movements in the moguls, but they're wide enough that if you get some soft snow, we're not always skiing like rock hard moguls, thankfully. If you get that type of terrain, or that type of conditions rather, the ski is wide enough that it doesn't get bogged down. And I think that's where this tip and tail shape really, really comes into play. So we didn't have true moguls today to test on. We have had some moguls at Stowe so far this season, but unfortunately they groomed them out recently, so we weren't able to ski them today. But the way that the ski kind of darts around in terrain like that is really, really good, and I think a really, really good ski for like even an advanced skier, but I'd go as far as putting a range from like fairly timid intermediate all the way up to somebody like myself, like a lighter weight, upper advanced expert skier. Anybody in that range can really, really enjoy and benefit from the performance of this ski in moguls. It's just lightning quick, which is really, really cool. And it's also not as fatiguing as those heavier skis because it's lightweight. So yeah, really good ski. I think it's a blast to ski around the whole mountain. It's a true all-mountain ski. Volkl had kind of a funny quote about this ski. I probably will butcher it a little bit, but it was kind of like something along the lines of a on-piste ski for an off-piste skier who likes skiing on-piste but doesn't want to admit that they like skiing on-piste. And that's kind of like a interesting way, but a good way to think about this ski is it does have really, really good on-piste firm snow performance. It's fun to link turns on. What's cool about it is you don't need to go super fast. You can still get really responsive, fun turns. But then you can take it into moguls, you can take it into the trees. You know, it's not like a powder ski, but here on the East Coast, I think it would be a phenomenal tree ski, just super quick, and that's a really, really valuable characteristic for East Coast trees. You could ski, like, it's really fun to kind of dart around on the sides of the trails. And yeah, it's just a very well-rounded ski, and it kind of has more of a free ride influence than you might think if you just look at its waist width in the way that you can do a bunch of different stuff on it. So yeah, that's the Kanjo 84. I think it's a great ski. Again, I think it's a really valuable ski. It's under $600. Pretty sure it's $599. That's pretty darn good considering the amount of technology you get in this ski. And I think, you know, anybody that's kind of considering Kendo 88, but maybe you're not like super aggressive, you should at least take a look at the Kanjo 84 because it's a really cool ski. And yeah, I just think it's very well rounded, and I think there's a lot of skiers out there that would enjoy skiing it. This is not something that I typically ski on, a kind of directional mid-80s ski, but every time I get a chance to ski this, I'm reminded about how much fun it is. And it's kind of nice because I don't really have ski legs yet, or at least I'm not in like mid-season shape. So the Kanjo 84 is really fun for me right now because I don't really feel like it's beating me up. And I think that's a cool characteristic about this ski. And also something that I think is worth pointing out. You know, it's still an advanced high-level ski. It's responsive enough that if you make a mistake on it, if you have like a hitch in your technique, or you weight it wrong, or you do something that's just wrong, the ski will let you know. That's really good, I think. Like the feedback that you get from the ski is really good. It doesn't, on the other hand, it doesn't punish you. So like heavier skis, if you make a mistake on them, they can really punish you. Where the Kanjo, if you make a mistake, it allows you to recover from that mistake. And it's kind of like, I think a really cool thing about this ski is the way it gives you feedback about your skiing. And I think it's a ski that responds really, really well to good technique and will kind of tell you like, hey, if you ski a little bit better, I will perform a little bit better, which I think it's a valuable characteristic to have in a ski. You know, it's no fun to be on a ski that just allows you to do whatever kind of horrible technique or whatever bad habits you might have. So yeah, really cool ski. I just wanted to add that before we finished, that its responsiveness and feedback is really cool, but not punishing. So as always, let us know if you have any questions about the Kanjo 84. When we were out there filming this morning, Bob was on the Solomon Stance 90, so we'll probably talk about that ski soon. And yeah, let us know if you have any questions. If there are skis out there that you want us to do longer reviews of, let us know, and we'll try and get to them. And yeah, it just feels great to be back on snow here at Stowe, and we'll see you guys on the slopes.